All right, first up, the call between President Trump and President Xi this morning. Expected, important, why did it happen now? What do we need to know?
So a lot of details are still to come out about why this call happened and what exactly they discussed. But historically, the U.S. has been the one to initiate and propose these calls. There's nothing that seems immediately urgent from the call readout that we received from President Trump. But what I would hazard a guess is the call was largely about Iran, or maybe driven by events in Iran. That President Trump was, for example, trying to press China to do more to drive Tehran to the negotiating table, to limit its purchase of Iranian oil. And she was probably taking the opportunity to raise concerns about U.S. actions in the region that could put those oil flows it so heavily depends on at risk.
Well, we're just getting a headline now. The president says Iran's supreme leader should be very worried now. The president also actually weighing in some stuff about the Fed, but we'll save that for a little bit later. The president, though, saying Iran's supreme leader should be very worried right now. How does that fit in to the China equation, Jenny? How does that fit into this new sort of not new, but new-ish alliance that the president is trying to kind of disentangle?
So I think what President Trump is aiming for, and he talks about this when he talks about Xi as well as President Putin, he sees these two as great powers, and he tries to treat them with respect and, at least acknowledge, as he would put it, their concerns in other areas. And so, especially with China, we've heard him reference this G2 concept, and what we think he means by that is trying to work with China to deal with some of these larger international issues, like Russia, Ukraine, like Iran. I think from Beijing's perspective, it's not interested in playing that sort of role with Washington, whether it's on Russia, which it sees as its strategic partner. It's not going to try and push it to the negotiating table on Ukraine, or with Iran, where Iran is a major source of oil for China. More broadly, China is extremely dependent on the Middle East for energy. It doesn't want to see instability there. It doesn't want to see conflict that could put those energy supplies at risk and its broader economy as a result at risk.
I got to say, it always makes me think about, Jenny, what is China's role in this world? Are they becoming more powerful, more significant allies that maybe were normally of the U.S.? Are they increasingly looking at China? Help me put it in context. What has really changed? Because at the same time, we had a story about the EU is going to pitch the U.S. on a critical minerals partnership to curb China's influence, looking to shape the Trump administration's push to strike global agreements this week. There's a lot going on globally. So, there's a lot you have to take it together. So what is the pecking order, and where's the U.S. and China in all of this?
So I think Beijing certainly sees itself as having a unique moment of opportunity now, in large part in reflection of U.S. policies globally, and especially as it relates to U.S. allies and partners, right? For example, Beijing looks at U.S. tensions with Europe over Greenland as a huge moment of opportunity for it to try and strengthen its ties with Europe, or take advantage of that moment, drive a wedge between them. At the same time, I think there's a larger debate happening about what is the role of the United States in the world. Does it still want to kind of be the linchpin in global order that it has been? Does it have the capacity to serve that role anymore? And I think even in Washington, there's questions about that and questions about trade-offs. And that's reflected in the Trump administration's national security strategy, where they talk about refocusing in on the Western Hemisphere and sort of shepherding or stewarding U.S. resources more carefully, in recognition that the United States cannot play the same global role that it used to play anymore. On your point about critical minerals, yeah, all this is happening at a time in which the United States is taking a number of major actions on critical minerals, right. And yet that didn't seem to come up in the call with Xi Jinping, even though all those moves are aimed at reducing U.S. reliance on China, and by extension, U.S. ally and partner reliance on China.